The gentleman from Texas is recognized for questions. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you are doing to protect our country. How many migrants are you monitoring? Is ICE monitoring at the time being?
So the whole population?
Yeah.
So we have about 35,000 today. We have about 35,000 approximately in custody. We have about, give or take, 190,000 on alternatives to detention, and that's a subset of the non-detained, which is over 7 million.
Okay, and how many migrants have a criminal record that are in our country at the moment?
I'll take that as a get back. I don't know exactly how many have off the top of my head.
We have a number that's over 300,000.
That comports correctly of the non-detained.
What steps does ICE take to verify whether migrants have a criminal record or not?
There's a couple steps. So if these individuals are encountered at the border or at the port of entry, CBP would do a check on them and run the check and see if there's any record there. Within about 72 hours, they're going to be turned over to ICE custody for determination on detention or non-detained status or alternatives to detention. And then we run a second check at that point to make sure that we just double check to make sure whatever criminality exists. In many cases, there's going to be nothing. And in some cases, the criminality would actually pop up later on where we weren't aware of it at the given time.
Well, first of all, by criminal activity, we're excluding actually crossing the border legally. But
That's correct, yes.
But so when they come to the border, they're in CBP custody. Many of them are not presenting identification. We're taking their word for it. Obviously, someone who has a criminal history is not likely to show documentation. How is ICE dealing with this? Does ICE have the capability to deal with this?
So we use any and all information we have at the time. I can't speak for CBP's method of vetting and screening.
Right. But you're basically confirming CBP's data.
We're doing our own double. We're just double checking on everything, and we do our own. It's separate.
Okay.
But and then we're doing biometrics. We're doing everything we can to determine what we can.
So
on
if
the
we know there's
individuals.
300,000 criminal aliens, it's likely substantially higher. I mean, I've been down at the border. A lot of them drop their IDs at the border, don't bring them across. You look at them when they're vetting the process. They ask them their name, they ask them how old they are, but they're just taking their word for it.
And a lot of the criminal aliens that are referenced in that number in the non-detained, a lot of those individuals, they've committed some kind of criminal act while they were here as well. That it was after the fact that they were encountered.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to bring up 287G. A lot's been said about that today already, but 10 of my 14 counties are part of the program. Others would like to join, but we've seen that the Biden administration has put a pause in new applications. I'm just curious as to why. You admit that it's a valuable tool. A number of the law enforcement organizations throughout certainly South Texas would love to be a part, and any reason why this is a congressionally mandated program?
Yeah, I can't answer for the Biden administration, honestly. I can say that a well-run, properly overseen program is effective and a good tool that we have to work with our state and local partners. It's not the only tool, but it's a good tool, and I found it to be effective.
We're looking at the budget, and so FY 2018, the agency budget was about $7.4 billion. The agency removed 256,805 illegal aliens. We look at FY 22, the budget was over $1 billion higher. 72,177 illegal aliens were removed. I realize that's not the only thing that you're doing, but there's not necessarily a direct correlation, but certainly a correlation between increased budget and less illegal alien removal. Can you square that for us and tell us what's going on there?
Yes, well, for quite a while, from COVID up until May of 23, we were also conducting Title 42 operations where those people were being expelled. So the actual removal numbers don't count all of the expulsions that were in there as well. So when you combine those numbers, it's higher than just the removal numbers.
Okay, but the last years are certainly not what they were 5 years ago.
No, yes, they're lower.
Okay. One more question, and this has to do with Endeavor's contracting. I believe you know Endeavor's
I do, sir.
no bid contract, $80 million, made by basically an Obama transition team official, left, went to be on the board for Endeavor's. Not only was it a no bid contract, it was an unsolicited contract, and then that basically was repeated with HHS. Can you talk to us about what you're doing? And then, we can get into what happened with that contract. There's been reports about how that money was spent was very wasteful, hotel rooms that were never used and the like. A lot of mismanagement going on here, and certainly a lot of circumspect on how these contracts are being awarded. Could you speak to what you're doing to clean up the no bid contract processing?
So regarding that, we did a review, and all appropriate career folks that were in acquisition and in the process had eyes on that.
That's not sufficient for me to say that there was no impropriety.
No, sir. I'm saying that we're looking at everything to make sure there's nothing that could be even perceived to be improper. The individual that, there was a memo that was written about who was going to have oversight and what kind of policy and procedure we're going to have within the agency. That was corrected and changed. And we have full oversight on how we're doing this internally. I'd be happy to follow up offline and get you our policies and procedures as it relates to that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The gentleman from Mississippi.